This is the #1 brand that's been destroyed.
See, it's a bummer.
This is like a candy store. I come in here and it's like...
Why should people be subjected to looking at your hairy legs?
I also got the newsletter where you said, I don't care if you're tall and slim or you're a total fat slob with a massive gut. Wear your pants.
High-rise trousers. I'm gonna just show it here, but like the way it breaks up your proportions, it is the most elegant way for the male body to be presented, which is a small torso that gives you a little bit of a bigger back, so more presence, and really long legs. You can see how my legs just get super elongated by this. It doesn't matter, again, if you're tall, if you're short, if you have a big belly, this is the best look for everyone, just because of proportions. You can see, as soon as I put my trousers down, how the proportion changes because there's a contrast of color between the shirt and the trousers. And this is way less elegant. This looks very sloppy. This is not a trend. Right now, I know that it's becoming more popular, but it's still not gonna be a trend because this is something that is just about how to break up the male body in a way that looks good. And pleats also help. They give that.
I'm not a big pleats guy.
Yeah, I understand. Like pleats are not necessary. For me, the big part is just having the trousers as high as you're comfortable with. But as high as you can go is definitely better. It's definitely gonna give you a lot more presence.
Remember we went to La Collezione? This is like a couple years ago?
And then we were picking belts as well.
We get a matching belt. I don't want to buy a pair of shoes without a matching belt. I can't do it. I'm really particular in that way.
On those? Yeah, the thing is like a lot of the times it's a trickier thing. I mean, of course, matching is the easiest thing, but finding things that go together,
sure,
not necessarily match, is ideal. But again, yeah, that's sometimes a little bit more difficult.
It's a little dangerous with the suede in Bogota with the
rain.
The rain.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and in Bogota where when you're walking a lot and it's sort of like, I don't know, dirty out and stuff, like your shoes.
It's actually, I think it's pretty clean here, honestly.
See,
where we are.
Okay, let me be fair. It's not that it's dirty. It's that sometimes because of the way the pavement is made here in Colombia, when you're walking, sometimes you just puddle.
You step on a puddle. Yeah. That happens in a lot of places.
Yeah, so like that happens a lot here. And so suede is tricky.
Don't you think, by the way, that Ferragamo, Salvatore Ferragamo, with the cursive font, that was it? And they've succumbed to what everyone else has succumbed to. Yves Saint Laurent is now just Saint Laurent. Yes. It's Ferragamo. I don't like it one bit.
So we talked about this a little bit yesterday during dinner, and it's like when you're looking right now, the way things are with brands, when you're looking for some nice classic timeless shoes, you're not going for the same brands that you were 10, 20 years ago because they all started doing the sneaker thing, and now you're not their client anymore. They're not focused on you. They're not focused on making the best, nice, elegant, timeless shoes.
Yeah.
Maybe they have them in the back drawer, like, and so it's not great. You walk in and they have like, in the front of the house, they have all the hip stuff.
Like a sneaker with Donald Duck's face on it.
Exactly, like that sort of thing. Now you're looking more at brands like the one
Carmina.
Like Carmina.
I'm getting into this Carmina.
Absolutely beautiful. It's a family that has been doing shoes in Spain for like 100+ years, and they're focused on the same thing. And their shoes are beautiful. The quality of the leather is fantastic. They cost the same or maybe a little bit less, and you're getting a lot more out of shoes.
I'm a big fan of this Carmina.
Yeah, so like Gucci, Ferragamo,
even them,
definitely not my vibe right now for any dress shoes. I think you can get a lot nicer from places like Crockett & Jones around that price point.
Yeah.
Crockett & Jones, Carmina.
No more lace-ups at Crockett & Jones. Now a lot more like the burnished toes and the kind of the...
Yeah, and a little bit heavier shoe.
Yes.
If you like a heavier.
I like a lighter shoe.
Yeah, so like that. I guess even churches, because they got bought out.
That's heavier too.
So I guess
they all get bought out.
See,
this is a formal city.
This is a very formal city. Yeah, we were discussing that a little earlier. Just people don't know. People think Colombia and they're thinking like Cartagena, and like since the equator, they think it's all the same. But we're up in the mountains.
It looks like London vibes. It's kind of the same equatorial position, I think, as Kuala Lumpur, but very different vibes because you're 2,600 meters up.
And that's why the ingredients are so similar than Southeast Asia, for example. The ingredients of our food are very similar.
So I got this in Dubai. In Dubai and London, they had the special buttons, which are in there also.
Yeah.
And we said we could switch them out before I go.
We can definitely switch them out.
Yeah. It's so unseasonably warm here in March that I don't even need a trench. What do you think about this? Because I have that pea coat, like the wool winter pea coat,
Yeah.
with the like a medium blue button.
Okay.
And I want to repeat that.
I don't know. This is a lot.
I'm a real hitter on Ireland, by the way, with the English overcoats. You think
It's a lot, and it's 2 blues. I don't know how that's gonna look, to be honest.
really?
Yeah, because it's such a different shade of blue. I don't want to keep the other ones under, to be honest.
Really?
Is that too boring for you?
Little.
It's more like, sort of like on a cashmere coat sort of situation.
Do you have any cashmere coats?
On a cotton trench? I think the buttons would definitely overpower the trench like by a lot.
Really?
Yeah, and these are more like super luxe button, and this is just like a really matte.
What is the amount of effort to change them to see?
No, just not. I don't know.
Is it worth changing just to check it out and you could change it back, or that's too much schlepping?
Well, I mean, it's doable. Yeah, you can do it. I mean, we definitely have time.
You don't like that pea coat? Or not? Sorry, it's not a pea coat. The what do you call it? Just a wool winter coat.
No, wait. That first pea coat that we made for you, that
still-
has some cashmere. That is something that looks good with this sort of button.
They're a little small for a pea coat button. Pea coat button would be really solid, no?
No, not necessarily. But something like that, something along those lines. Something. Let me show you. The fabric has some sheen, right? And has some quote unquote luxury to it. And then the buttons look super in place there.
You don't like it on cotton.
I don't love it on cotton. I definitely don't.
I can see the point.
It's too matte. So I think these are beautiful buttons, but I think they're for another project.
This is the #1 brand that's been destroyed.
See, it's a bummer.
It's like they splashed some yellow paint on the back of a coat. I love it.
All of us trying to get like more timeless classic pieces are having to move on to different brands. Right now, like for this sort of thing, there's this Japanese guys called Coherence. They're doing beautiful stuff. They sell out of places in London, places in New York. They stock them in all of the major cities, and they are really fantastic when it comes to this sort of thing. Or what a lot of people are doing is vintage pieces, and you can find first-hand vintage pieces, like never used before,
Really?
old stock, from some suppliers, from some vendors around the world.
You know what I miss? I remember growing up, and you know what I don't like is that old money is now. It's like the thing. I remember I saved up from some job or mowing lawns or something. I got a Brooks Brothers cashmere sweater when I'm like 16. You can imagine, like in 1999 or 2000, whatever it was, like that. So cool.
Yeah.
And then my mother sold it for $1 at a garage sale when we moved. To punish me, I didn't label my things for sale when we were moving.
Okay.
But I remember back then looking at I think it was like a Burberry ad, and it was like, I remember, I've told this story before, it was like black and white ad, like in some magazine. And it was like in Tokyo or something, and this guy wearing like a trench coat, like a really nice trench coat with like some beautiful Japanese woman, black and white, just like in Ginza, like that's the life. That's where you want to be.
Well, now that trench coat would have like yellow paint on top of it, as you said, and he would be wearing
Like a panda bear emblem and like, right, a Balenciaga.
sneakers and sweatpants and something like that. I mean, I get it.
I'd like to go back to that.
Definitely not my vibe. Not only is it not the aesthetic that pleases me, but it's just fetching trends is not something that I like. I love having timeless pieces. I love having my grandfather's trench coat and knowing that I don't have to have another trench coat or buy new stuff. I don't have to keep up to date with any trends of anything. Just like,
At what age as a man do you think you stop falling? I think it's like 30.
I think it's around 30. Definitely.
Yeah, you're done.
I think a lot of them. Just that's when I sort of quote unquote come in. That's what I see with my clients in New York. That they move, they finish their MBAs, they either already lived in New York or they move into the city and they go like, okay, now this is the moment of my career, whatever it is, either entrepreneurial or corporate. And they go like, okay, now I just want to have my uniform. I fully understand that people wanted to lose the imposed uniform of the office, which I guess was the navy charcoal suit situation. But you see that it was really nice and fun for some men for a while, but then you understand now it's another thing to worry about. Since now you don't have something reliable that you had to wear, now it's this thing where you got to figure it out. And not only that, it's not only just stuff you wear, but it sort of defines your identity and it's about self-expression and all that stuff. And it just becomes another thing. And to me, that's like not so cool. I'd rather just have something that is, okay, a little bit more of my personality in it. So it's like something that I picked, but it's still, I don't expect my clothes to be just like a full expression of who I am or anything like that. I just like look nice, have something that in my closet that it's pretty timeless, that I don't have to think about all the time, that it's thoughtfully curated in a way that it all goes together and makes my life easier. And that way my life is more about my life than about my clothes. Just go into my closet and I dress and it's all pretty much me. And then I just show up to whatever I have to show up, looking good, looking ready.
So live like a king in Bogota. You're going out with your chica. What's the vibe? It's not Balenciaga sweatpants.
No, definitely not. Bogota is a much more elegant, conservative city, especially if you compare it to Medellin, which is a lot more casual. It's more like reggaeton, sweatpants.
Why did I move to Bogota and not Medellin?
I mean, definitely you would enjoy the vibe here a lot more.
Yeah.
I think the food is just like way better here. The restaurants here are
Excellent.
really excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah. Not only that, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And has a big city vibe, which I personally enjoy a lot.
I think the best cuisine here, the one that seems the most prominent, because there's a lot of this is a country where I think there's more international cuisine.
So what's particular about Bogota is like usually when I go to Mexico, most restaurants are like Mexican restaurants.
Yeah.
There's sushi there too as well. Apparently Sao Paulo is also very international. There's a lot of different vibes. But Bogota, we eat a lot of different things.
You're in New York. Is this like, what does it compare to New York City in terms of the food scene?
So the biggest comparison is that in Bogota, we have restaurants that have great dishes, but there's no restaurant that you can go that you can say like that restaurant is amazing. Everything there is amazing. Like when I recommend places in Bogota, I usually say, I go here to eat this, this, and this. And I am not going to be responsible for anything you order outside of that. In New York, I have found places where it's just like the whole restaurant is absolutely spot on. Why? Because the people in New York are very demanding when it comes to food. You can't have a bad restaurant but make it in New York.
But whenever you go to a restaurant and you ask the waiter, like, what's good? And they're like everything.
I would never do that.
Why?
Because
it's a very like American thing, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a secret that broke out with Anthony Bourdain, that they're just going to tell you not what's the best thing, but what they need to get rid of that night. So, I mean, I don't trust it. Sorry, I just don't trust. I wouldn't. I would ask a friend, like, hey, have you been to da-da-da? What do you get there? So what's the scene here? The scene here is a lot of going out to dinner. And unfortunately, we're not quite there with the bars yet. You have the club scene, which is huge and is great. So like you're like a teenager or a college person, you come to Bogota, you're gonna have the most fun that you're ever gonna have. It's just full of clubs, nightclubs all over, playing reggaeton, super loud, super fun, super cool. But then when you go a little older and what you wanna do is you wanna hit some bars, like really cool music, great cocktails, stuff like that, which New York has a huge abundance of. We're not there yet.
This is like a candy store. I come in here and it's like, no, because I got this is, what is this, Loro Piano?
No, those ones are Cacciopoli.
Cacciopoli is from Napoli, yeah? But where's the wool from?
Cacciopoli is from Napoli. They have the most amazing story because it's a company that started in Bogota. So weird. I didn't even know that when I started working with them. I just found out later. So it's a company that in the 10s, I think. Got started in Bogota with some Italian immigrants that wanted to import fabric from Italy and sell it in Colombia. And it actually got really, really big. They were here for about 10 years. After the Second World War, they decided to go back to Italy. And story is like, this guy, gathered his whole family, got on a boat, went back to Italy and continued the company there and called it Cacciopoli. Here it was called Almacén Italia. Over there, they just called it Cacciopoli. And they continued until this day, and it's the same family who owns it. And it's just crazy how it's like a company that started here.
The sheep are running around Napoli?
No,
Where are the sheep?
sheep are in Australia.
Australia, they bring it in.
Yeah, so sheep are in Australia. Cashmere sheep are in Mongolia.
Mongolia, yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Rogers never invested in Mongolia, he told me.
Okay.
He missed out in the Kashmir Revolution. That Gobi, they started, is that like a Zania kind of thing? Have you seen that Gobi Mongolian
Yeah.
Kashmir? They started open stores. There was one near my house in Istanbul. They closed it. But I was in Mongolia. It's really affordable, good cashmere.
So getting affordable good cashmere has become a little tricky because there is some, I don't want to say there isn't any, but some really isn't because it's just like it peels immediately. It's impossible to find out if it's going to be good until you use it. That's the other thing. It's just like I haven't been able to talk to anyone who has like a good quality test for cashmere before you actually use it. So you just got to like see, like try a brand with one sweater, and if it just like ages gracefully, then okay, then you're good to go and you can continue and you can buy everything from them.
Do you like this? Do you like the Loro Pianos better than the Cacciopoli cashmeres?
To be honest, I think Cacciopoli cashmere is really good.
You're a big Cacciopoli guy.
I'm really loving it. There's another one that I'm really loving right now as well. It's called Piacenza. I'm really loving Piacenza as well. So I gotta say, I mean, Loro Piana will always be Loro Piana, but right now there's alternatives.
This is Harrison's?
That's Harrison's of Edinburgh, and that's a lamb's wool with Angora. So that's why it's so soft.
This is really nice, yeah.
Delicious.
So
To me, it's even softer than cashmere.
you gonna make your snarky comment about my bear socks?
Oh, I thought, yeah. I mean, it's just not a snarky comment.
You're anti-bear socks.
I'm anti-print socks. I'm anti-print.
You of all people should love Ralph Lauren.
Yeah, but I don't have to love everything they make.
Yeah. It's kitschy to you.
No, it's mostly that they look good once,
Yeah.
and then because of the way they woven, they can retain their shape. So in the beginning, it's a really nice bear, and after the third time you wear it, it's like the Tasmanian devil.
It's like getting a tattoo and turning 90.
Exactly. So they don't age gracefully, these socks. I mean, look, to be honest, no socks age gracefully. I mean, they all start to look worse but these, just like this, the curve is way steeper. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's like buying a Maserati and driving off the lot. It's just gone.
And socks should be just like one color. Again, it's more like ease of use.
I like the Falk. Is it Falk? I like Falk Airport, like this German brand.
Perfect.
You know my promise though?
And they need to be over the calf. That way, when you move your legs, no one's looking at your hairy legs. Why should people be subjected to looking at your hairy legs?
It's a very Larry David-esque observation.
I would have.
Who wears shorts on a plane?
I bet that he would agree with me. Your socks need to be knee high, or at least over the calf. And that way, no one's showing leg. Don't show your leg. So like you do a whole bunch of navy socks, a few browns, a few black, a few gray, and you're done.
This is the Loro Piano,
That's little, yeah. They're flannel with
bought
cashmere,
by Prince of Wales.
which is really nice. I mean, we made a ton of suits out of that.
It's a little too.
just super beautiful.
I have this, but not.
I mean, you
Okay.
have Prince of Wales.
I should be just called the Prince of Wales.
I mean, yeah, we've made so many POWs, as we call them.
In the trade, they have the POWs.
POWs, but yeah, we have a lot of those.
What about this?
We're-
Purple?
It's really cool that we're past the. Oh, that's super nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like now that we're past the classics, we can do what we're doing, which is like playing a lot more with unusual colors. You have so many basics that you can actually pair them up with.
I don't know that I do.
It makes sense for you to have like a purple jacket or something like that because you have stuff to pair it with.
Do I have this?
You have very similar to that, or exactly.
Really? This is what happens. You just keep like going back to the same things.
But I like these.
I'm really into the suit. I really like the suits. The jackets, you know.
And then that purple window pane.
You can't do an Angora. You can't do an Angora pant.
The trouser's not gonna.
Trouser.
The trouser's not gonna be.
Do you like a window pane trouser?
We should do a stripe.
Stripe? I'm not a stripe guy.
We should try a stripe. Don't do 5.
Like a pin stripe or a wider, like a chalk stripe?
Like a little wider with color that's more in like your character. It's not gonna be like a banker stripe like this. It's gonna be like something different.
I'm out of the chalk stripes.
Like that, or like look at this beautiful, no, the green one, the unusual. It's not like a classic stripe.